Welcome in Tuesday edition, Oxford Exxon podcast. Chase Park, Neil McCready here with you, Clark Ford Studio today. A new year, January 2nd, 2024. Hope all of you had a wonderful holiday. Obviously, you had a good weekend with Ole Miss taking the Peach Bowl over Penn State 38-25 in that one. They get big news on the retention front as well with Jaxson Dart coming back for 2024. So with those topics and whatever else, as I move through the show today, Mr. McCready over here under the weather a little bit, so we're going to get through it the best we can and be with you to today. We're playing hurt, playing injured, but we're here. It's that in the illustrious film, The Program, they asked Darnell Jefferson, "Are you hurt or are you injured?" I guess we're hurt, but you feel a little closer to injured probably than you're admitting right now, I think.
Yeah, I got in the car on the 31st and drove back, and I was fine. And got home, and within hours was starting not to feel good. Woke up yesterday and did not feel good. Went to bed last night at about 7 o'clock.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't stay awake. And then didn't sleep. Woke up cold, toss, turn, hot, cold.
I had that night a few days ago where, yeah, it's sort of congested, sort of temperature regulation, and you're exhausted and groggy and can't fall asleep and go, this is going to suck later.
Yeah.
And here you are with later.
So Laura got some NyQuil for me, and normally that just knocks me out. Not last night.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Typically, the Mucinex night shift does better than NyQuil, but I found this go-round on being sick for whatever reason that NyQuil was better for me. I don't know why. Yeah, usually it's Mucinex, but that's where we are. Anyway, a lot of sports coming up. Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford, starting another year with them. Appreciate those guys as always. Lunch specials, people back at work today. So head on over, 569, a couple sides, bread, any size fountain drink for you there. You also go into the beer cave, pick up your alcoholic beverages for the week, for the weekend. Maybe you're detoxing. Maybe it's your dry January, but you've been around family a long time. Maybe you need one last few days prior to going cold turkey on that. So Oxford Exxon, blue skies up and down I-55 and throughout North Mississippi as well. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for my friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop it around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. The Campbell Clinic is in Oxford now. 2608 South Lamar Boulevard, Suite 102, just across the street from the cottages at Hooper Hollow. The Campbell Clinic provides full-service orthopedic care, everything from sports medicine to foot and ankle surgery to spine, total joint care, pediatric orthopedics, and more. To book an appointment, go to campbellclinicoxford.com or call 901-759-3111. Walk-ins always welcome at the Campbell Clinic, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Just a reminder, by the way, today is the last day for players to get into the portal in this go-round. So I guess it's possible paperwork isn't finalized for a day or so, but you're probably going to see all across the country some final little pushes here today as, frankly, guys, people get back in the office and process that paperwork as well. So could be a fairly heavy portal day. I've heard one rumor on Ole Miss. I guess that's it. It doesn't appear to be overly widespread on people of significance.
It's a kid from LSU.
No, I mean outgoing. Sorry, not incoming. Yes, at this point.
Okay. So a couple of guys went pro.
Zamari Walton, who had a damn good year, by the way, for Ole Miss.
He did. Deshaun Gaddy. Look, you're bringing in 40 people. You got to make room.
It just is what it is.
As I've said many times, 85 is a real number.
Especially on that defensive front, guys need to, they're deciding whether they believe in their ability or not because Ole Miss is bringing in a lot of talented guys who are going to play. So any depth piece along the defensive front, they're probably making some level of decision today as it pertains to that. I'll tell you
I know the rumor you've heard. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to think for
I just hate to put the kid on notice and then he doesn't do anything. It looks like it's dumb. So yeah, that's all. Tell you the night I had last night. Watched all of Alabama, Michigan, was locked in, whatever, good game. We can talk about it. I know you didn't see the end of it.
I saw the end of it.
Okay, you did?
And then
all right.
I was going to try, man. I was going to try, and then they had this countdown clock. It was like 13 minutes till the next game, and I was like, I don't know that I can stay awake 13 minutes. And I know I can't stay awake for 4 hours and 13 minutes. And I just said, no, good night.
So I was going to follow Texas-Washington, but obviously have a 7-year-old in the house, trying to sleep, all that kind of stuff. And I noticed as everybody was winding down and I was going to kind of go settle myself and watch the rest of the game alone and all that kind of stuff, that I had not seen our cat in several hours. And that's not uncommon. As most people know, house cats will typically pick some time of the day that they'll go sleep somewhere and they disappear for a while. It's no big deal. But cat's pretty attached to me. It's kind of my buddy. I never thought that was going to be the case. I was frustrated by the acquisition of the cat, but the cat has quickly kind of become a dog in a way and just kind of lies around. And he's on my desk a lot when I'm podcasting and stuff. Just kind of sits back there, minds his own business. And couldn't find him anywhere. Couldn't find him. Went through the house, still couldn't locate him. And I walked through the guest bedroom and had just this faintest of a meow. I yelled across the room. We've got Alexas everywhere, so they know everything that goes on, whatever. And I yelled. I was like, "Hey, Alexa, turn the TV off from the main living room." Turned it off. The cat is not on the roof with a goat. I will spoil that. That was not where the cat was, Sammy. And still faint. Walk outside. Faint from outside. I'm like, where the hell is this cat? Clicks. All of a sudden, I have like the light bulb moment go off when I don't know exactly where he is or what happened, but I know where this is headed. Is earlier in the day, I had gone into the attic to grab some bags that the Christmas decorations go in, and I went, somehow that's connected to this. I don't know where it is, but I don't know where the cat is. So I get up there, climb up in the very corner, and it's getting late. It's 9:45, 9:50, because then my panic comes in, and you and I are very similar about this. Laura made a joke when I walked in a couple weeks ago. We don't own a lot of power tools or the ability to use them. So if this is a complicated situation, it's 10 o'clock on New Year's Day. My options are a little limited right now on what I can do. But I get up there and it was dark. So I don't know exactly how we got here. But in the very corner of my attic, there is this chute-like thing that is open somehow. And I look down, and that cat is all the way at the bottom. This cat fell 25 feet to the ground inside this square cylinder type thing that goes all the way to the ground. And I'm like, what do I do? Because 25 feet, I'm not reaching down. Because at that point, everybody's kind of panicking a little and having like theological things. And I've got my daughter is an animal lover that would make Dr. Dolittle envious. So she's going, hey, just lay down and grab him. And I'm like, hun, that is not an option right here. I can't climb down in the hole. I nothing I can do. And the cat's walking around fine, looking up at me, meowing like, hey, get me out. And I noticed that it's brick on 3 sides, the thing, and then the other side appears to be either metal or something pretty hard. And I'm going, where the hell is this? Like, what is it? So I call one buddy, FaceTime, like, advice, talking, and we come to the conclusion, hey, call the fire department. As cliche as that is.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. So sure enough, I ring up the fire department and I said, look, you can laugh at me. I get it, but here's my situation. And he goes, look, I don't think we can do anything, because he goes, we don't have anything that's two stories down to grab him with necessarily, especially because, I mean, you're going to choke, like you're going to risk hurting him. And he goes, we're going to be much more rough on your house to get him out than a construction person would be or a contractor, because we're using axes and crowbars. I mean, we don't have a lot of fine motor skill tools. So he got off the phone, whatever. And I called back, and we've realized, hey, there's a neighbor that might know somebody, and they called the neighbor and thought he's not going to yell at me for calling at 10:15. So, and he's not going to mind. He was a godsend last night. I called Braxton Tullis, but people in town know him. And I said, can you help? And he goes, well, I don't know if I have the tools you need, but sure, I'll come over and we'll figure it out. And over about 20 minutes, we realized that it is where this cat is is, yeah, Ryan says, don't call the fire department. Sorry, it was just life in the internet tells us that's the thing to do over 40 years. So that's what I did. And he was nice to me. He did not make fun of me. And the cat was stuck. So the front of my house has these little like jutted out brick, not columns, but where the brick comes out a little more aesthetically from the front of the door.
Yep.
It was right there. So it's brick on three sides and a firewall, basically, or maybe that's not the right word. I'm not in construction, but seemingly a wood firewall on the backside. Well, then the question comes, okay, it clearly comes in from inside the house somewhere, but where? Is it just one wall or two, or what do you do? So with a bit of hit and hope, we cut a square. We started doing the whole, you get up there and knock, and I'll be down here and knock, and we'll try to figure out where this thing's coming in. Took kind of a prayer, cut out a piece of sheetrock. Behind it was insulation and then this plyboard. We kind of got right on that. And as we started putting the holes in the plyboard to kind of see, sure enough, Paul sticks out. And the cat's right there, right where we cut, just so happens. And create a hole. Cats can get through pretty small holes. So created a pretty small hole. Cat jumps out, runs out of the room like nothing ever happened. Looked at it later. I think he's fine outside of, he's got a really bad skin abrasion on his nose. And I don't know if he fell and hit his nose, or frankly, if he was curious when we were using the tools and a tool got him because he poked his head in to where we were trying to get him out. I'm not sure which one of those, but he was bleeding on his nose at that point. But he appears to be fine. But I was cutting sheetrock and plywood out of my wall at 10:50 last night, something like that. But publicly, all the thanks in the world to Braxton. I've become a 2-year-old when anything is needed handyman wise, where I need help even if I might know how to do it. So that extra assistance was gold last night.
I've gotten a little better, but I would have needed assistance for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, I just didn't trust myself. You know what I mean? It's don't make a mistake and cut into something that is.
You end up having a big problem.
Yeah, because to the fire department's credit, he goes, "Look, we'll get the cat out, but
we might destroy your house."
Yeah, he goes, we would take half a wall here. That's. I still am curious, and I don't know this today as far as what happened. I'm wondering, was that chute thing always open and somebody screwed up and didn't close it, or at some point it got opened up? Or was there something covering it that was flimsy and the cat stepped on it and fell? And I would find that whatever that top was down in that chute if I looked harder. Does that make sense? Like, did we really just have an exposed area in the attic that would fall 20 feet?
Probably.
Well, that's safe.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, might kill a human.
Well, sure.
The cat was much more likely to survive the whole land on feet thing.
9 lives, the whole thing, yeah.
Do we think he landed on his feet?
Probably.
You think so?
Yeah.
Scared as hell.
Oh, I'm sure he was a little freaked out.
But, because I started getting almost kind of annoyed with him. Like, could you not climb the wall back up?
Maybe it's too slick to climb.
Yeah. Because we had, like, when I'm really thinking, I'm like, my mind was, it is a cat. Is there any way I could find something in the house long enough that almost would be sort of netting that he would climb up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'd be afraid then that he'd fall and then he gets hurt.
He didn't accidentally. He knew what he was doing. I accidentally allowed him to follow me into the attic while I was getting the bags for the Christmas decorations earlier in the day. I just didn't see him. I was looking for him and I didn't notice it.
He could have just had like a, Clark Griswold Christmas moment where he was up in the attic by himself watching the videos.
Oh, he was. Yeah. Started going through the boxes and seeing what was going on.
Yeah,
so
Clark fell in the attic too, but he didn't fall down 25 feet. He just went through the ceiling.
Yeah, and Ron's right. Maybe it was just insulation covering it because that is the situation in a lot of the attic, but it's surrounded by a lot of firm boards, so that would be very unsafe if there's just one spot in the middle that was insulation.
But, I mean, surely nobody building one of these houses that they throw up in 4 seconds takes any shortcuts. I'm sure everything is kosher.
Yeah. No, he is very much not declawed. He has all of his claws. So that's what I'm saying. If he had the ability to climb back up, maybe, but he was just down there. Just every time he got really quiet a couple times, and I'm like, oh, that ain't good. But as you started making noise, he was meowing and going, hey, I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind a meal. Right
Yeah,
now.
and then sure enough, as soon as the ply board opened, he threw a paw in, and he went, "Oh, okay, there he is."
Well, I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, he's all right, but it affected my night. I missed a good bit of Texas Washington. I was planning on being in bed far earlier than that. I knew going in I was not seeing the end of Texas Washington.
Yeah.
That'd be okay. I'd move on at that point.
What time did that game end?
It was a 4-hour game almost. Yeah, I mean, it was late. Because, I mean, Washington was dominating. Texas scored. Washington is almost kind of Eli Drinkowitz, Mario Cristobal version of failing to run clock or be very good at time of possession whatsoever. So they just kept giving midnight, Hayden said, kept giving Texas opportunities to get the ball back. And I mean, the game ended with Texas in the red zone as the game finished. So
that game, I woke up at 11:30 and looked at my phone for just to see what time it was. And the thought went through my mind, you probably could go see the end. And then I was like, no, it's too cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, I was, cloudy at that point.
You didn't think pull it up on the phone or like?
No, it never crossed my mind.
Okay.
I just went back to sleep.
Because I've done that a few times. I'll just watch it on my phone and finish. And
yeah,
I just don't. Maybe it makes me a bad sports fan. There are not a lot of games where I need to see it.
Yeah,
I'd like to know who wins. Show me what happened, but But I kind of made Michigan Alabama appointment viewing. I mean, I was pretty locked in for those 3.5 hours, whatever it was.
As much as it begrudges me to admit it, because they're so obnoxious about it, that start time on that day with the way they do that stadium.
Okay, look, it can be two different things. Go ahead.
It is awesome.
The start time is fantastic.
It's also obnoxious, but it is awesome.
Okay. I'm going to piss off multiple sets. And I promise there are things I like. We can hit topics and I'm going to go, oh, that's amazing. And I can be on that side. I feel like I just say everything sucks. It's not, though, that anything sucks. It's that people won't just let it be and they have to beat it to hell to death that causes the problem. Look, Bud Elliott had a good point yesterday on Twitter. I don't know. You probably didn't see this.
I did not.
To Bud's credit, and I had a friend yesterday that kind of fought with me about this, thought I was blaming the non-human, and I'm not. ESPN has found a way to make us get annoyed with golden retrievers. Herb Street's freaking dog. It's a cool story. It's a neat story. He's a neat old golden retriever. He's a cool dog. He's a fun dog, and I really like the profile and the athletic they did on him. But now it is so oversaturated that ESPN has found a way to make me get annoyed by seeing a golden retriever. Yeah. That is almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
It can't just be cool. It's got to be weird doing this 24 hours and just grinding it on you. Stop. So that was the point, was all day, hey, we're going to get a sunset in the fourth quarter. All day. We're going to get a sunset in the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, the sunset.
We're going to name the sunset in the fourth quarter. And then when it happens, we're all going to tweet the sunset in the fourth quarter and tell you that it's the best thing on earth.
It sets every day.
It's cool, but...
It sets in the west. It'll set in the west again today and tomorrow. I mean, it's awesome, but I get what you're saying. But here's the difference between you and me, and this is where I've got it right and you've got it wrong.
Okay, sure.
Now, 99% of the people watching us right now will disagree with what I'm about to say. By me not watching all the preview stuff, the game itself is still fresh.
That's true for that. Yeah. Okay.
If you get up and watch 8 hours of these people telling you how great something's going to be, it's going to be really hard for it to be that great. And you get tired of them. And you don't like to completely admit it because it makes you as cynical as I am, but that show sucks.
I don't mind that show being on. I don't want to actually consume any of the show. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, I get its purpose as a palate cleanser and just set me up, cool, sweet. Mm-hmm. I got no problem with that. But I don't really want to sit and watch it.
So yesterday you sat and watched it.
Yeah, I was kind of bored. So it was just on.
No, it's not criticism. Yeah. It's a difference between the saturation.
Well, it's because I was watching a lot of other games. So they would break in and do a lot of that stuff. I watched a lot of LSU, Wisconsin. I watched as much Tennessee, Iowa as I could take in my head.
We almost had them.
I mean, just
right there.
Right there. Oh, my God. I mean, holy shit. Iowa.
Did you see his punts?
Did you see he set the record?
Yeah, of course he did.
Most punting yards in a season.
I mean, a couple of those balls.
There's a record that's
They
been
haven't landed
held
yet.
since, what is this? I had this up. 1938,
We
I
had-
think was the previous.
We had a first and goal. We had them right there. We score right there. Different game.
Is his fan base not really pissed off about his comments about we're only going to play complimentary football and all that crap?
I'm sure they are. I don't.
Well, you're on like message boards and stuff.
I mean, I'm on.
I mean, you got bookmarked "Go Iowa Awesome" or whatever it is.
Go
right there.
IowaAwesome.com. I'm Mississippi corn on the on the thing. Locked in. Talking about all of our offensive recruiting.
Yeah, Iowa's Torrey Taylor broke the NCAA single-season record for punting yards, surpassing Michigan State punter Johnny Pingle's 1938 campaign. Taylor finished with 4,186 yards punting. They say, which is the most 2023 Iowa thing I can imagine. Pingle's record held for 85 years, even though he punted in just 9 games that season.
Like, I wonder how much Fraser Mazin punted this year. How many yards?
I mean, I could look it up, but I don't.
I mean, 1,000?
Probably. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Something like that.
I mean, dude punted like 12 times a game. Booming the ball, too. He's a stud.
I know that we all say, hey, that was a really good accomplishment. If you go to the Citrus Bowl, it's cool and all that stuff.
Yeah.
My excitement on Ole Miss not playing in that game yesterday
was pretty
damn high.
Yeah.
Like as that game was playing out, I went, oh, thank God. Thank God.
As I kept drifting off, I kept thinking the same thing. Man, I'm glad I'm not there right now.
This sucks.
There's nothing to gain from that. Although Nico did play really, really well.
He did. He was fun.
He's good. He's good for Tennessee.
The total yesterday in the Iowa-Tennessee game was 37.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee scores 35, ends the game at the 1-yard line. Iowa scores nothing, so it goes under, of course.
Uh-huh.
Iowa finishes the season and FBS 12 unders in 14 games this season.
Surprised they had 2 overs.
It's probably the FCS game and then one more. And then LSU yesterday easily cleared the over against Wisconsin. LSU games go over 13 times or 12 times in 13 games this season.
I saw there was a whole lot of and I'm not making fun of anybody here. It's just what we do. I saw it felt like there was a lot of internet overreaction both ways on LSU yesterday. Like, oh, they're going to suck. Or, oh, maybe they figured it out. Oh, they're going to suck. No, they figured it out. It's like
they played a fifth-place Big Ten team in a bowl game with a lot of opt-outs. I don't know.
It's the ReliaQuest Bowl. It just is. The one thing that did strike me, and I will now forever correct myself if I go down the road again, there is a huge difference between the New Year's 6 games and the other games.
Yeah.
It's night and day. And once again, I know I've said this 1,000 times. I do want to say it on the record again. The Peach Bowl, those people were amazing.
Yeah, they're good.
Literally, I did my review thing yesterday because I saw the email. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Because normally I'd be like, delete. I'm not giving them feedback. I don't care. It's going to take me 4 seconds. I'm not going to do it. I did it yesterday. And one of the things was, is there anything you'd recommend that they fix? And so I sat there for like 10 minutes and tried to think of anything that could even kind of be a complaint.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a deep dive thinking here. Nothing. And the point of this is not, hey, how good are they to media? Because who cares, right? Outside of media, nobody cares. If they're that good to media.
What do they like to the players?
And the coaches and the families, staff. The answer is they're amazing. Kudos to them. Gary Stokan, Matt Garvey, all those guys. Amazing.
Props.
Big time props.
Yeah. We'll actually get to the Ole Miss news of the weekend in a second. First podcast also brought to you by Prime Shrimp. They're giving away free shrimp for an entire year to one lucky rebel. Here's how to enter. Go to primeshrimp.com/MPW. Place an order, any order you want. Use promo code JUICE, JUICE. Take 20% off your order and be entered to win. You can place additional entries by posting your shrimp on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter with hashtag Prime Shrimp, hashtag MPW. Winners will be chosen on January 31st, so get those orders in. Again, that's primeshrimp.com/MPW.
Well, I'm thanking people. Another thanks to the people at Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating for sponsoring my coverage from Atlanta all 5 days. that I was there. Big thanks to them. Made it a lot easier to just focus on my work and not how expensive things were because of other things that were happening. So again, thanks to Comer and Southern for sponsoring our coverage of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. It's cold outside. If your heater is not working today or it's acting like it's not going to work, now would be a great time to get in touch with Comer and Southern. Different names, same great products, people, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, get in touch with Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern, 662-429-4429. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? Are you already retired? Should you consider Roth conversions? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with a personalized retirement plan. Andrew Segal with Segal Wealth Management specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan, whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere. Schedule a free discovery meeting. See what they can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. A-Stock is a Nashville-based online retail company with the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items start at just $1. That's right. All items start at just $1, no matter what the retail value may be. So shop now at astock.bid. That's ASTOCK.BID. The College Corner is in Oxford now. If you're coming up for basketball SEC season gets started this week. They're at the Oxford Commons right off of Sisk Avenue. They also have 2 locations in the Jackson area, 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear. It's also available online, collegecornerstore.com.
So in a
I'm just getting a water real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're fine. So yesterday on social media, Jaxson Dart announced his return for 2024 for Ole Miss. They appear to be fully inside this the last dance moniker for 2024. A lot of returning players. They've obviously had a lot of key players in retention that are returning for next season. Already got announcements from basically everyone but Judkins on the primary list. Secondarily, although incredibly important, we still haven't heard anything about Ulysses Bentley, what might be going on with him. John Saunders on defense, also a candidate to return as well. Trey Washington should be back, right? Strike out a year left?
It's a good question.
Trey, by the way, we probably did not talk enough about him this season. He sneakily led Ole Miss in tackles in 5 of 13 games this season.
No, he had a really good year.
Yeah, Trey, and plays every damn snap almost. So, yeah, big season, more than we probably gave credit for Trey Washington there.
I'll pull his thing up. Does he still have a COVID year? Maybe
everybody seems to have a COVID year. That's what I'm lost on some of the COVID stuff as far as who's back and who isn't. But good for Ole Miss to go ahead and get the Dart announcement out there. As you're aware, and as we wrote all week, and we've been talking about for several days, there was a little bit of anxiety throughout the program simply because of that transfer rule changing, which would allow a
yeah, he's got another year.
Okay, yeah. So key thing there for Ole Miss. The transfer situation would have allowed anybody, even if they had transferred previously, to jump in the portal, to test their worth, to transfer again. And as pre-portaling goes, Dart was hearing from other programs with very large offers to him. So that was a negotiation with the Grove Collective. That was a decision from Dart, but Ole Miss has locked him into next season. And look, it was, as Neil wrote on, I think, Friday, at this point, you are all in. You're doing this whole deal leading up to this year for lots of different reasons and justifiable reasons. You had to keep your quarterback, period, no matter whatever that looked like or took or anything else.
It was so interesting. It tells you how many people don't really understand the dynamics of some things. People are like, well, where is he going to go? Well, I mean, he could go to Florida State.
100 schools in the country?
He could go to Ohio State.
Look, it was not a coincidence that DJ, what's-his-name, committed to Florida State right after Dart announced.
No.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
That's not violating any source. I have no source to violate there. That's just true.
Yeah. And yes, everyone tampers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
2 major schools made Dart major offers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, 100%. Did they actually talk to him and make the offer where you get into the semantics?
No coach has ever said no.
Right.
Yeah.
He knew he had options.
Yeah. Knew his worth. Got a deal done.
I thought he had a fantastic season.
He was incredible.
I mean, he goes in the next year as I think preseason all SEC. There will be people that talk about Milroe. I think Ole Miss will open the season next year ranked
fifth or sixth.
Fifth or sixth?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, and finish your thought.
And so, I mean, he's a Heisman candidate. Running backs don't win the Heisman.
No.
So he's the Heisman candidate. He's the most legitimate Heisman candidate Ole Miss has had since Eli Manning.
That is true.
Dexter McCuster was never winning the Heisman. Jevin Sneed was never winning the Heisman.
I guess you could say there was 2 weeks in 2021 when Matt was very legitimate. But you knew they had to just
but it was going to take a miracle, right? I mean, it was going to take
because that's Bryce Young's year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I always thought Matt had a shot to get invited to New York.
More than winning.
I never once thought, he could win the Heisman. I think Jaxson Dart could win the Heisman. Now he's got to have a great season, of course, and Ole Miss has to win 11 games.
11.
Yeah.
That's the word. 11. Yeah. Not 10.
No.
11.
You don't have the cachet.
They have to, at minimum, host a playoff game.
Yeah, I think that's true.
They can't be on the road in the playoffs.
I think that's probably true.
I know some people are going to go, Jalen Daniels won it with 3 losses. I get it. I just think for an Ole Miss quarterback to win, that is the case.
I do too. It's just how media think. It is what it is. You're right for that to piss you off, but it doesn't change the fact that it is. LSU has more cachet.
Well, and Ole Miss is going to run the ball a lot. It's going to be hard to be as dynamic statistically as Daniels because that's not Ole Miss's offense.
Yeah. And that was the only way LSU could stay in games.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Here, just air it out.
They couldn't run the ball the way Ole Miss can run the ball.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of stuff like that. Here's Jaxson Dart finished the season. Let's see. 233 of 358. I don't know what that is in percentages. I don't have that off the top of my head. But
233 of what?
233 of 358.
$65.1%.
65.1%. That's which is fine. It's not elite, but it's fine. 3,364 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Those are his passing stats for 2023. Pretty good.
Yeah, solid.
5 picks. After the year last year of everybody coming in and going, hey, he's got to clean that up. Got to stop making all those dumb throws. He can make good throws, but got to quit making the dumb ones. He did.
He did.
He had 2 dumb throws the entire year. Had a couple stupid throws. But
what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's it. Ends up running for 400, runs for 8 touchdowns. If he's legitimately winning the Heisman, he's got to run for 600-700 yards.
Yeah. Probably has to complete 70% of his passes.
Yeah. He didn't have to be Bo Nix. Doesn't have to do the 77 or whatever that he did this season. They're going to take some shots and all that kind of stuff.
He's got to have a really big day when Georgia comes to town.
It's that November.
Yeah.
But he gets home dates
it's
in November or late October, early November with Oklahoma and Georgia.
Yeah, he's got to have a big day in Baton Rouge. Got to have a big day against Oklahoma. Got to have a big day against Georgia.
Well, that's where I was going a second ago with just schedule mechanics. Ole Miss is going to start 5th or 6th, but if they don't do something dumb and lay an egg in those first 6 games, when you look around the country on who else is playing the first 6 weeks, they're going to Baton Rouge number 2 in the country.
Yeah.
Just strictly because you keep winning.
Yeah.
If you start the year 5, because look, Alabama, Georgia are going to play on September 28th, and someone's going to lose, and they're going to fall below Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Texas has a couple really big games early that they could lose and fall below Ole Miss.
Yeah. Washington and Michigan play each other. In Seattle.
That's right. And is it Michigan that opens with somebody pretty good? Isn't there it's Michigan or one of them that actually has a really hard game early?
I don't know.
I saw.
My brain's not in mode to help you much today.
It's okay. I'll find it. Oh, it's Texas. Michigan and Texas play September the 7th.
Oh,
So, again, somebody's losing.
yeah.
So if you're undefeated in October, you've just jumped ahead of 2 teams by sheer accident. So you're 3rd or 4th in the country at worst. That's where I'm going there, is that
Which puts you under the spotlight.
it's 2. You got to win 2 games. You got to beat Kentucky at home. And you got to go to South Carolina and not doing something dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, you're going to Baton Rouge ranked like 3rd in the country with a quarterback who has really good numbers to date, barring injuries. Right there.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I feel like we've written it 1,000 times, but the schedule is about as favorable as you can have having an SEC schedule. They should be much better on defense. They should be, assuming that they land a couple of offensive linemen, and I think it's safe to bet that they will. They should be better offensively up front, assuming Quinshawn comes back, and I assume that he will. Yeah, I mean, look, injuries can get you.
Sure.
The expectations can get you, although I don't sense that that's ever been an issue for Lane.
I think he actually will be more locked in because there's bigger things to play for.
Yeah, agreed.
I think he gets more bored when it goes away. I mean, but look, we got a whole offseason of this. We're just kind of setting the table here because it's going to be a whole offseason of this. But that's why you just had to sign Jaxson Dart. He had to make that thing. And look, he puts out the video yesterday, and it wasn't even about him coming back. It was about, hey, recruiting. Hey, come join.
Well, look,
I'm here.
The over-under on
You have the team.
The over-under on Ole Miss in Vegas is probably going to be 9.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as heady.
And look, they have so much public positivity. 10's not out of the question.
No.
Because if you go 9.5, I'm not sure they're going to have enough national people saying 9.
Right.
I pointed this out to Brian yesterday. I thought that, and I get it's recency bias, and it's Saturday, and it was ESPN and all that stuff. But that game ends, Ole Miss beats Penn State and all that stuff in the Rose Bowl, or Peach Bowl. And Reese Davis immediately, that's a top 5 team in the country next season. That's what he said on Game Day or whatever the hell it was, that show. Multiple people on Twitter ruling it. And then whoever the analyst was in the Georgia Florida State game. I don't know who's calling the game, but whoever the analyst was.
God bless them.
That's why they're doing things like what I'm talking about right now. It's
like, hey, you want to talk about the grocery list? Because now would be as good a time as any. Yeah, sure.
They put Georgia's 2024 schedule up. And they were talking about difficult games and what they had coming up and all this different stuff. And they took the little telestrator pen and he circled Alabama on September 28th. And he circled Texas on like October the 14th or something. And then the other guy, the analyst, grabbed it and went, nope, right there, and circled Ole Miss on whatever. He goes, those are the 3 that are problems.
Yeah.
He didn't circle Clemson in the opener.
No.
He circled Alabama, Texas, and Ole Miss. By the way, Georgia has road trips to all 3 of those places.
Yeah. No, if they win it,
they better show up.
They're going to earn it.
It's why I'm doing that date thing yesterday, and it's a good mental project for me to kind of lay out the year a little bit in my head. It's why that Oklahoma game is so damn big because, and I get we're doing the pie in the sky Pollyanna thing right now, but they're better. If they win in Baton Rouge, Ole Miss plays pretty well down there. That's a winnable game.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be a hornet's nest for you, but
sure,
you win that game. Oklahoma almost kind of becomes a win to get in game as long as you don't do something dumb where Georgia doesn't even damn matter as far as straight getting in.
Sure.
If you beat Oklahoma that day, it's Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi State to make the playoff.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it. Oh, look.
Now you lose to LSU, got to go beat Oklahoma.
Sure.
You better whole serve at home and we'll do the whole 20-2 thing and whatever. But
well, given their schedule, if you're 10-2 with losses at LSU and at home to Georgia, you're going to be on your knees praying a little bit because you might end up not having the great strength of schedule.
And you could be going against Oklahoma for a spot or whomever. Like you're dealing with some head-to-head stuff there.
Yeah. But, I mean, you could just look around and go, we don't really have a big win. You don't have Alabama in your schedule. You don't, You've got some bad teams on your schedule, like Florida could be bad, Arkansas could be bad, Mississippi State could be bad. You could have some.
It's where you finished the year, but you went, eh.
Where people are picking the schedule apart, going, who's their biggest win? Wake Forest.
Yeah.
That's why the game at LSU is going to be huge.
And LSU doesn't know who their quarterback is, right?
I mean, I assume it's Nussmeier.
Yeah. He played well yesterday.
He's good. He's fine.
Yeah.
Their deal is it all depends on what you believe about Jim Harbaugh. What do you believe about Jim Harbaugh? Do you believe Jim Harbaugh is leaving Michigan after Monday's game? He's going to play for the national championship on Monday night. Do you believe that?
Is it Monday?
Yeah. Do you believe that at some point in the 48 hours after that he leaves for the NFL? Because if you do, I think Brian Kelly's the next head coach of Michigan.
Brian Kelly's a better fit at Michigan than LSU.
Yes, 100%. He doesn't fit LSU.
Mm-mm.
But if you do the coaching upheaval thing in January, their program could be chaotic. So, who knows what it all looks like.
I give Harbaugh a lot of hell. He gets on my nerves. He's probably overall good for college football. Gives you another foil, gives you another villain, kind of gets to play into this dumb professional wrestling part of college football that people like.
Mm-hmm.
He is, though, one of the few humans on earth, and it is a handful at most, who can coach college players and NFL players effectively.
Mm-hmm.
That is so complicated and difficult to do. He is one hell of an actual football coach. I told a buddy this morning, it's a little knee jerk, and you watch way more Big Ten than I do, but they're so offensively limited in most teams in the Big Ten when they get into these stages. Ohio State, when they're at full strength, is built like an SEC team. Michigan is built like an NFL team.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they're always going to win, but their personality and the way he does things is very NFL-centric, as in their line play and some of their schematics and different things and what they asked McCarthy to do and whatnot, that I thought he's done a really good job of dumbing down an NFL overall system into a college program at Michigan, and has done that well and has really put that identity on it to where they get on my nerves. I actually sort of felt myself pulling for Alabama yesterday, but I really respected Michigan the way they handled that entire day in that game yesterday.
They came to play. The way they answered the bell in the fourth quarter, that drive, that was big. I mean, it was big.
Huge drive.
Huge drive. A program-defining, season-defining drive. Corum's run in overtime. They're very, very good. People do the cheating thing, and I don't know, beats me. But they're a very good football team. If you've watched them all year, they're all season have been one of the best teams.
I do think he's going to the NFL.
I do too. I think he's going to Las Vegas.
Oh, do you really?
That's what I think.
Yeah, Leif, I'll go with that. Harbaugh and Pete Carroll are probably the two living humans right now that are at the top of that list. College NFL.
They're the two that have proven it.
Because Pete Carroll might be the best coach in the world for football.
Sure.
All in, whatever, come at me, whatever. I'm
with you.
Because he does a really good job in Seattle without a ton of talent. They don't have the team that a lot of.
Well, he's won Super Bowl. Been to the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
He made the right call on the pass run thing.
Yeah. Saban doesn't have a Super Bowl. Is that Alabama's last best shot?
You ready to throw the grave in?
No, just asking. Was that their last best shot? The new era, it's going to be hard for them to stockpile the talent like they've done in the past. The margin's thinner than ever before. They don't have a incredible NIL deal going.
They're not as good of a team this year as Michigan, and they're not as good of a team. I know they won the game. They're not as good as Georgia, so they're already ranked third.
Agreed.
I still think Georgia's the best team in the country.
I do too. Had a bad day.
Yeah. Bad day on the day it couldn't be bad.
Yeah, just ran out. It's kind of due. It's super hard to win 3 in a row. That's why no one since Minnesota's done it. It's just really, really hard to win 3 in a row.
I was pulling for Alabama for whatever reason. I'm really glad for that kid's sake the Michigan kid did not fumble that ball through the end zone.
Oh, God.
On the muff punt.
Yeah. Right before that, they showed the picture of him, and his eyes looked big. Like, the moment looked too big. And
Just get away from it then. Just get the hell away from the ball.
I said we were watching that, and I told Laura, I said, the kid looks scared. I said, I don't blame him. I'd be scared too. And, I was relieved for him.
Oh, dude. Because, I mean, it was a miracle he held on to the football because he got wrecked by that Alabama defender on the hit. Mm-hmm. I thought he's going to fumble right there. Yeah. Like, there's
God. That's where you just go, I'm not coming home. There's no reason to go home.
Oh.
I'll just stay here. I'll get a bartending job.
They've been the butt of the jokes the entire bowl season today, but the Big Ten, the big winner, too, because now Washington's inside their league next year. They're playing for the title.
Yeah.
And then now Michigan.
Well, Penix is terrific. I didn't see the game, obviously.
He was awesome.
But Penix is terrific. And again, that last drive for Michigan, McCarthy was really good. Credit to them. I mean, it's right there. You've got to go score right there, and they did.
Washington, I'm really fascinated in Washington, Michigan, because Washington just feels so limited everywhere else relative to a national title winner that I go, can he really just pull this off again? Because it's Penix and one hell of a receiver and some other good receivers. And
Johnson's a good back.
They're good.
Yeah, DeBoer's a very good coach.
They scheme well defensively. They're not awesome by any stretch of imagination.
I mean, my guess is that Michigan wins it.
Well, they feel like the best team.
Someone in the thread just said it's tainted. Georgia's better than both teams. I get it, but Georgia didn't win the game it had to win.
We do that in college, and again, I get it. We do it in college football, but no other sport. We don't go, well, the one seed lost in the NFL, so that doesn't really count because the Giants won the Super Bowl or the Marlins won the pennant.
No, I mean, look, the two teams that are playing went undefeated in their leagues and are undefeated.
The Rangers World Series title is not tainted because the Braves were absolutely the best team in the world. They lost.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia lost the game it had to win.
You still believe had Knicks pulled it off that Georgia's in the playoff instead of Oregon?
Yeah, I think so. Boy, they beat the hell out of Liberty. Every time I was,
dude, I'm scared.
I was napping
because you can't give the Pac-12 a spot. So, look, this is very relevant for Ole Miss next year. I'm really concerned they're going to let two of those damn teams in next year because we're going to do the 5 champions.
Well, prepare yourself for when I feel better to rant on that
because that would be that would allow in.
I don't want any of them. I don't even want to give them one. They don't belong. Nothing against Liberty and Jamie Chadwell and all them. But that was an Oregon team that lost twice to Washington. They're good. Oregon's good.
But they weren't the most motivated team in the world, on Saturday.
No, Oregon's good. But Oregon's not playing for the title. And no one would argue that they should be. And they beat the absolute brakes off of Liberty. They were toying with Liberty at the end. Those group of 5 teams don't belong. I watched SMU. I was at the hotel. I was on the treadmill, and I was watching SMU play whoever the hell they were playing in their bowl.
Boston College.
They don't belong. Tulane doesn't belong. None of those teams belong. Stop. Let them have a little.
And if there's a lightning in a bottle year where one is awesome, then let them earn their way in.
Well,
okay.
Let them have a group of 5 tournament. Everyone would watch it. Would you not watch it? I would watch it.
Yeah.
Mountain West champion plays the Sun Belt champion in the semifinal.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
You would have flipped on Troy SMU.
Of course.
In a final.
If it means something, yeah. Have a group of 5 championship. Give them rings and a title and everything. Call it a day.
Yeah, as you've always said, Delta State doesn't go, we couldn't have beat Alabama, so we're not gonna celebrate our D2 national
I know it's
title.
not apples and oranges, right? But if I go out to Vaught Hemingway for the state championships, and Tupelo plays Starkville in the 7A final, that celebration's not going to be any more than, and I don't know Mississippi well enough to do this, y'all, but McGee-Mendenhall. Whoever wins that game, they're celebrating the same way.
Yeah.
Moms and dads are coming out on the field and taking pictures, and they get rings, and they get a trophy and the whole.
Yeah, when Centurion won for Raleigh, he didn't go, I don't know if we could have beat Tupelo.
No, no one does that. So have a group of 5 tournament, and then let the Power 4 or whatever the hell it is have their tournament. That's what everyone wants.
Basketball, used to have the Grand Slam where all the state title teams played each other. You like that or no?
It's fine.
You good with it?
But what I don't want to watch 13-0 Troy play Michigan. I don't. I don't. I have no interest in it. Because if they play 100 times, Troy's going to win, what, once? Maybe? No thanks. I don't want that. Put the best teams in the tournament.
Yeah.
Don't have stinker games. I don't want to watch Liberty go to Eugene next year. Nope. I want to watch Florida State go to Eugene.
I'm good with you. Podcast brought to you by Northeast Spark, NESPRC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages: the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's NESpark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and much more. So get the best internet in Lafayette County. That's 662-238-3159.
We're brought to you by Argent Wealth, formerly Pinnacle Wealth. Argent Wealth, based in Ridgeland, Mississippi, represents clients in more than 20 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. It's myargentwealth.com. We're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits, simply not available to other travelers. Get in touch with him. Give him some parameters. Give him a budget. He'll give you options that you're not going to find on your own. It's jedwards@regencytravel.net or 901-494-3387. If you're planning a company dinner, a festive party event here in Oxford, I highly recommend OPA. It's Oxford's newest Greek restaurant on the square. It's a perfect place for that kind of an event. Get in touch with Jeannie at 601-421-7147 for catering or booking information. And we're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency, connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. If you're on the job hunt, whether you are seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board. It's 662-832-5138 or servicespecialistltd.com. Get the beautiful and healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. So schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself at corinthdental.com.
Remember to get your Ole Miss football season tickets. It's going to be a little harder of a ticket to get. I gave them. They did. I don't blame them at all. They didn't miss. As soon as Ole Miss won the game, they sent out the ticket referral form or whatever for next season, as they should have. So go to OleMissTix.com. New season ticket holders, obviously, your current ones, be able to lock in your tickets and more. But if you're interested in that, I know they've had some success with that here, picking up new people trying to get involved and get their tickets for what should be a quite exciting, especially home season, but season in general next year. That is, again, OleMissTix.com. Let's see. A couple different things here. Really nothing else from the Peach Bowl. Mostly wrap that up. I talked to Brian yesterday for a podcast. We did a little more of that, so you're probably fully hit on all things moving forward. I mean, it's knowing I had sort of a mini staff meeting when he was driving back. It's going to be 8 months of football coverage in different ways, different things to do here. Is clearly that's what the attention is paid to do right now.
For sure.
I mean, it's unlike anything. I was talking to Tyler Jordan about it yesterday, and I mean, it's kind of you kind of only have the opportunity to do it one time. Like, I mean, for Ole Miss fans, hopefully you guys are getting annual things and it becomes somewhat of a standard. But that first one always is a little different, a little whatever. And I think that's what's going into this 12-team playoff and the way it's playing into right now.
Well, it's certainly the first time that I can remember. And I've been on the beat since 2008. I've said this before. I'm not a historian. I have no recollection, obviously, of the 60s, the 70s. I don't. So if that bothers people, I'm sorry. It's the first time realistically that I think of Ole Miss as a national title contender. I remember in
2009, they started the year ranked 4th in the country, but it was a very flawed team.
But I would go out and watch that team and go, come on. there were a couple of Freeze's teams that were really good, but did I ever think they could win a national title? I didn't. I really didn't. This team, assuming that they finish it out the way that I think they're going to, and again, health and those things happen. And
yeah, there are things you can't control that we'll see.
But you'll have a quarterback, an offensive coordinator, and a head coach together for the third straight year. You'll have a pretty solid wide receiver core, an elite running back, an improved offensive line, I would suspect. Now, that's something that they must do, right?
A damn good tight end.
Yeah, damn good tight end who's healthy. And then defensively, you'll have a lot more talent. Now, I will say this, and I thought this was interesting to have this conversation with, I think, Trey Harris. I talked to so many people last week that I get a little confused. The buy-in matters. This team didn't have a lot of ego. This past team that went 11-2, they put team in front of self, with rare exception.
Yeah.
Can you get that many guys to do that again? Because it takes that. And sometimes you can put together, and Lane's talked about this, sometimes you can put together an all-star team and it doesn't mesh. So do I think Ole Miss is a playoff team? I do. Do I think they're a title contender? Absolutely. Do I think it's like some locked in stone thing? I don't know. I mean, there are things, that intangibles that you must address, and you can only do that over time, and you've got to get guys to buy in and to have chemistry and to support one another and to be willing to take lesser roles. And you don't really know whether those things happen until the time comes. This was also a team this past year that on multiple occasions, they handled adversity really well. They were very resilient.
Yeah.
They came back against Tulane. They came back against LSU. They came back against Arkansas.
A&M.
A&M, Mississippi State even. There were moments in all of those games where you're like, if this wasn't the toughest team in the world, this moment could get kind of weird. So you've got to put that together again. And so, I mean, those are all things worth noting. And then, I do think this. I don't think there's an in-between going into next season. I think they're either a playoff team or it is like a marked disappointment and you're playing in some bowl game against somebody with about 25 to 30 opt-outs. I don't think there's an in-between. I think it's all or – I mean, you've pushed – I'm not a poker player.
Yeah, all in.
But I understand what all in means. You're either going to win all that or you're going to lose all that. You're not getting a cut of that. I'm in.
But where you should be, it's the goal. I mean, hell, it's a lot better than going, hey, in a best case scenario, we're going to be happy about the Gator Bowl.
No, of course
not.
Not.
The hell with that.
No, screw that. Not in today's world. You're either playing for the playoffs or you're not. And that's where we're going. I mean, there were a lot of empty upper decks at these bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
Including like the Capital One, whatever they call it, the Citrus Bowl, the ReliaQuest Bowl. Wasn't so long ago. Those bowl games had some cachet to them.
Yeah.
I don't know that they do now.
Michael, thanks for Super Chat. Good to see you. Hope you had a great new year. Thanks for what you guys do. Here's a great 2024. Thoughts on Rebel Hoops, realistic projected conference record. We ran through a best case just sort of for some planning purpose stuff. Obviously, it's probably not going to be that, but I think Ole Miss is in good shape. I think Ken Palm still has them way undervalued because of just computers and strength of schedule. They're better than the computers are showing them right now. I think 10-8 is realistic for Ole Miss.
All right, we'll do this real quick.
Yeah,
because we haven't given them enough attention.
Yeah, I got it up. They're 13-0, by the way. They beat Bryant. Look, credit to fans. Neil was not at Bryant yesterday. I went for a while. The last two home crowds in December have been like SEC crowds in previous regime.
I know. I couldn't believe how many people were at that Bryant game.
Or Troy, the one last week where I walked in and went, holy hell.
Yeah.
Like, you bought in. Like, I never would have believed December non-student crowds would have looked like they've looked for the last two home games. Like, it was actually an energized building for Bryant and Troy the last two games.
All right, so let's go through this. We'll do best, worst, and meet in the middle.
Okay.
All right. So best case,
All right.
lose to Tennessee on Saturday. Tennessee's 5th ranked in the country. They're very, very good. I mean, Ole Miss would be pulling off an upset to beat Tennessee.
Okay.
All right. Beat Florida at home, 1-1. Beat Vanderbilt at home, 2-1. Go to LSU and win, 3-1. Go to Auburn, probably a loss, 3-2. Beat Arkansas at home, 4-2.
Yep.
At A&M, let's go ahead and do this with A&M. Let's split the games. So I'm gonna say 4-3, loss in College Station. Beat State at home, 5-3. Best case, Ole Miss has beaten Auburn a bunch at home.
Bruce struggles with Ole Miss, whatever reason.
So we'll go 6-3. At South Carolina, it's a winnable game, 7-3. A loss to Kentucky, 7-4. Beat Missouri at home, 8-4. Lose at State, because that's typically what happens in that series, 8-5. Beat South Carolina at home, 9-5. I think Alabama's really good, but in this case, best case is a win, 10-5.
And you would clinch the tournament right there.
Right there. A loss at Missouri, 10-6. A win at Georgia, 11-6, and then beat A&M at home. So 12-6 is best case in my world.
Yeah.
Worst case, lose to Tennessee, probably beat Florida, but look, you got to play well. But worst case is you lose to Tennessee, you lose to Florida, you beat Vanderbilt at home, you beat LSU 2-2, you lose at Auburn, you lose to Arkansas. Now you're 2-4. You lose at College Station 2-5. You beat State 3-5. You lose again to Auburn 3-6. Lose at South Carolina 3-7. Lose to Kentucky 3-8. We're going to do the split with Missouri 4-8. 4-9 at State. Beat South Carolina at home 5-9. Lose to Bama 5-10. You lose at Missouri 5-11. You beat Georgia. You beat Texas A&M. So 7-11,
which is what Ken Palm has them at right now.
7-11 is probably your floor.
So I think they're 9 to 10 wins.
And if that's the case, I think they'd get in. But they
need some. We just need this. We need the computers to play out a little more, and they play some SEC teams, because I understand where their strength of schedule is, but I'm looking at teams around them, and I don't get quite why Ken Palm has them so low. I'm struggling with the computers a little bit on just how it's that low.
I'm guessing it's just game control,
but their game control has been really good the last 4 or 5 games,
and then schedule.
It's schedule for sure.
Yeah,
I mean they're still listed with the. Let's see. I had their strength of schedule somewhere earlier, but it's bad. I mean, their opponent rank so far on schedules. Their opponents rank so far 298, 130, 349, 214, 205, 73, 34, 231, 75, 164, 204, 261, 191.
Yeah, man, that's what's killing them.
Yeah. Tennessee 7, Florida 35, Vanderbilt 209, LSU 102, Auburn 8, Arkansas 59, A&M 23, State 32, Auburn again 8, Carolina 61, Kentucky 18, Missouri 91. So Tennessee's go throw a free shot at Thompson Bowling and see what happens.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And there should be one hell of an atmosphere for the Florida opener.
I would think so.
The one game that I put into the 10 dates yesterday was the Arkansas home date because it was the 6th game of the season. I thought you'd have a decent idea of how it's kind of going. And that's an ESPN2 full students back game for the time of year. That made sense that could be a very pivotal one for a lot of reasons there. And actually, Ken Palm has them winning that game over the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I think they beat Arkansas at home.
And he has Florida as a coin flip. Even with Ole Miss's bad ranking, it's essentially a coin flip. And Vanderbilt sucks.
Yeah, they're bad.
So that's kind of where it's sitting. Ole Miss knocked off Bryant 95-78. They put multiple players in double figures and stuff. I think it was Beard's 250th win as an NCAA coach.
NCAA win,
yeah. There's a lot of different numbers built into some of those things, but yes, that is accurate. So look, they've had a hell of a run. He has changed the fan base in short order. I mean, I get everybody follows winners and all that kind of stuff, but it's been fairly remarkable on how fast people have bought in.
They're fun to watch. They're competitive.
He's changed the trajectories of Morrell and Brakefield in ways that are hard to explain.
Yeah. Look, I'm not counting them out. I mean, if you said yes or no, they make the tournament today, I'd probably go, I think so. Just kind of things seem to work out for him. He's really good. Now, could they go 7-11? Sure, absolutely. It's a good league. You have to play well at home to beat Florida. You have to play well at home to beat Arkansas. If you don't play well in those games, you don't rebound the ball well, you will lose. Alabama's good. Auburn's good. You could lose twice to Auburn. South Carolina's been a surprise. You could lose to them. Missouri's a good team. You could lose to Missouri. Obviously you can go to Kentucky and get manhandled. You can go to Knoxville and get embarrassed. It's a difficult slate, but I think they're in really good shape to make some noise.
It's a good point there. Mark says State did get Tulu back this week. He played in their latest game, I guess Saturday, something like that. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no,
they're good.
He's a total difference maker for them.
The league looks a little gettable right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, as Grind says, the SEC hasn't been stellar, which means
there's some bad losses.
Well, you might not get 8 bids. It might be 5, 6 bids. So you got to go make hay. You can't screw up.
Yeah. Florida's the game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to beat Florida.
Yeah.
Get off to that 2-1 start and kind of let it go to LSU and try to get one and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So as we can test, there's some flu, some stuff going around, some sickness. So if you have not done this, you'll get that flu shot from G&M and Tyson Drugs, especially anybody older. If you hadn't done it, been putting it off, still take care of that high-dose flu shot from G&M Pharmacy in Oxford. They recommend it for anybody 65 and up. Anyone can get that as well. They also have the new RSV vaccine if anybody would like to schedule that. They do all their vaccines by appointment, which makes getting in and out super easy. Give them a call to schedule. 662-236-2222 for G&M or 662-252-2321 for Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs.
Are you a displaced corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands? Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Either way, Andy Ludicky can help. He owns multiple franchises and businesses. He uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So give him a call at 404-973-9901 or Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. We're brought to you by Southern Traditions Farm. It's a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, grass ring, miles of wooded trails. A lot offered at Southern Traditions, including horseback riding offerings from beginner lessons with Susan Walt to buying your first horse, competing at nationally recognized competitions, and much more. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Art Hayes of Sotheby's International Realty. Are you thinking of making a move? Put the power of Sotheby's International Realty to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world at no charge to you. Seriously. So call and ask Art how. 612-805-5929 or email Art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com.
I didn't really answer your question about Alabama earlier. No, I'm not ready to say that because they're in a handful of teams that can still win a national title.
Yeah.
So, no, have a hard time with going anything beyond that. But no, it's more complicated. I mean, I think I heard them say on the telecast last night, this ties or is the longest drought he's had between titles now.
3 years without winning one. It's really, really hard to win one.
As somebody said, playoffs come in and change the same way. Big Ten team knocking out Alabama when Alabama has some quarterback issues. Milroe struggled. Michigan got after their offensive line all day, just hammered him, sacked him 5 times in the first half. I put this on the board. It was not a quarterback draw play. It was an RPO
blew it up
on a swing out to the running back, and frankly, it was wide open. If he makes the throw, the running back simply has to outrun a safety to the pylon, and the safety is in traffic in the middle of the field. 2 defenders, 2 blockers set up on that thing. If you look at it, you'll notice the back takes off, looks for the ball, holds his hand out, and then gets pissed off when he sees it's blown up. Milroe, the snap went bad, and he panicked and just ran because
the snap was on the ground.
The snap was bad all night.
Yeah.
Ole Miss people understand. I mean,
Well, it's why you want great defensive line play. It blows everything up. You get centers that suddenly are having to think about blocking, and the snaps get weird.
Alabama was only in that game because they have a great processing culture in their program that got them through a season.
100%.
It was not his most talented. He was his best coached in a while.
Yeah.
He coached differently. He really understood what to do for his team. There was a story by somebody in Pasadena over the week about how he made jokes and was so much lighter this season even with the roster than years past. Yeah, Saban said dive because he was not going to throw it on the center right there.
Yeah.
He'll take it. I mean,
but we all saw it. You know what it was. It happens. They're kids. It's like the kid from Michigan if he muffed the punt. I mean, they're kids. It's going in the next season. Yeah, I mean, should Ole Miss be that? Yeah, sure. But, I mean, you could have a moment where a kid has a kid moment.
we'll hit a little NFL tomorrow. Cowboys survive a crazy game against the Lions the other night. Back in two-seed territory there for the Cowboys. The Ravens and the Niners have clinched the 1 seed in their respective conferences at this point. Baltimore just beating the shit out of Miami on Sunday.
Yeah.
Miami also losing Bradley Chubb to an ACL injury. Huge loss for Miami.
For sure.
So a lot there. And then
Philly lose to Arizona.
Yeah.
Philly
and the Chiefs have been pretty rough the last few weeks.
Philly look really mortal.
Did you see the playoff scenarios for Buffalo?
I've not.
Okay, they can win the division and win the AFC East. If they lose and have 2 very likely other results, they miss the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's just so much parity in that league. Just
the margins are just nothing for what would have to happen at that point for them to miss or get in or whatever. I mean, I'll pull that up real quick here as we close. I'm making sure we didn't miss any other college football stuff. I don't think so. It's not like we can't pick it up tomorrow. Again, DJ Ugalele, he is going to Florida State, as we mentioned earlier. So they have their quarterback.
Well, it's hard to prepare for a show and also do a show at the same time. I mean, it's just only so many things you can really do. I mean, you're either preparing for the show or it's a lot.
Jeffrey has maybe popping the champagne as that game was going on. He's never had a better moment than laying out the exact quote he was going to use, and then an hour later, almost verbatim. Yeah. I mean, it was. Oh God!
Can't help himself.
Because that was the problem in a shellacking to Maryland with a backup quarterback.
The answer is we weren't ready to play. That's on me. That's your answer. Now, then you might go inside the building and tear people new ones, but
I didn't get involved in it for the most part until this week because of recruiting. Anytime you struggle like we did, I didn't feel like the plan was great.
Nope. That's not what you say. Even if that's the truth. It's not what you say.
Well, you don't put it on yourself. What are you talking about?
I mean, Nick Saban did.
He did.
Said it's a dive. Wasn't a dive. Everybody knows that. But by saying that, he goes, I'm not going to throw this kid under.
He would have called that bitch an RPO.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had an RPO, but the snap was bad.
If you look at it, actually, it was well.
Here, in fact, come to my office. I'll show you. Yeah. That's an error.
No, there was 2 blockers. There was 2 defenders. He was going to outrun him.
You are the face of the program. When it goes bad, take it, even if it's not yours. Why does so many players love Dusty Baker over the years? Publicly, when his teams underperformed, he took the hit. He didn't throw his players under the bus. Now, inside the meeting rooms, he would look at a guy and go, hey, you're accountable. But there's a difference between, hey, you've got to be better, and saying it publicly.
Yeah. Hugh.
It's a big year for him next year.
He could get fired next year.
I mean, probably won't, but yeah, it's a big year for him next year.
Even saying could is interesting. And it's good. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, Bills 1 game back on the Dolphins. Bills 10-6. Dolphins 11-5. I guess they play Miami. I didn't even realize that. Saints need a Panthers win over Tampa as well as a win over Atlanta to make the playoffs. I don't like their chances on Sunday to get in. They did beat the Bucs, but an earlier loss to the Packers is what's going to end up biting the Saints. They had a 18-0 lead against the Packers, I believe, and blew the game. And that will end up being the difference there. But yeah, 49ers 12-4. They have clinched the 1 seed in the NFC at this point. So yeah, Eagles and Cowboys both 11-5.
Yeah, Philly does not look like a playoff team. They don't look like a winning playoff team right now. They got issues.
AFC South going into the last weekend: Jags 9-7, Colts 9-7, Texans 9-7.
Yeah. Colts have been surprising.
I just don't like them.
No, I don't either.
I pull for them to lose every week.
And I thought Jacksonville would be better than this.
Oh, yeah. And it hasn't been the case. So, all right, back tomorrow. We will have more with you then. RebelGrove.com. In the meantime, come hang out. We'll still talk football. National Championship game on Monday. Portal closing today, and plenty more as well. So, Neil, Jace, talk to you tomorrow.